Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuhu. I'm Armia Balandan. So, our topic today is all about evolution of the Philippines Constitution. Evolution of the Philippines Constitution. The Constitution is defined as set fundamental principles of established precedents according to which a state is government. In Tagalog, ang saligang batas o konstitusyon ay isang pangkat ng mga prinsipyong saligan o fundamental o nailunsad at naitatag ng mga pamarisan na pinagbabantayan o inaalinsunuran kung paano pinamamahalaan ng isang estado o iba pang organisasyon. So, kung makikita natin ang kahulugan nito ng ating konstitusyon o saligang batas, it is present in two parts. It's defined two parts. Una, it is a fundamental principles. Isang pangkat o grupo ng mga tinatawag nating prinsipyo o saligan, pamarisan o mga batas. So, maaari itong ay batas sa karapatang patao o batas teritoryo panlupa ng isang bansa. Maaari sa pamumuhay o aspeto ng pamumuhay ng isang mamayan ng isang bansa or Pilipino. So, sa ating case, on our situation, karapatan natin pamumuhay or mamuhay natin bilang isang Pilipino. At the second part, ito ang prinsipyo, itong mga batas na ito, itong mga pamarisan, at itong standard na ito yung sinusunod ng isang gobyerno. Kung paano niya pamahalaan ng kanyang bansa. So, ito yung mga principles na ito yung mga sinusunod o ini-enforce ng gobyerno. So, in our case, ang gobyerno ng Pilipinas, kung paano niya i-convert ang ating bansa o mga bansang Pilipinas. The word itself means to be a part of whole constitution. The coming together of district entities into one group with the same principles and ideals. These principles define the nature and extent government. So, sa ating saligang batas, itong nagdi-define sa ating gobyerno. Siya yung nag-guide sa ating gobyerno kung paano niya pamahalaan ang ating bansa. The Constitution of the Philippines, the supreme law of the Republic of the Philippines, has been effective since 1987. There were only three other constitutions that have effectively governed the country. Number 1, the 1935 Commonwealth Constitution, and number 2, the 1973 Constitution, and the number 3, the 1986 Freedom Constitution.
However, the early constitution attempted by Filipinos in the struggle to break free from the colonial yoke. Commonwealth of the Filipinos. Kabilang sa mga provision nito ay mananatili itong konstitusyon ng Republika ng Pilipinas. Kapag naibigay na ang kalayaan noong July 4, 1946, noong 1940, ang 1935 Constitution ay nisusugan ng National Assembly of the Philippines. Ang legislatura ay binago mula sa isang unicameral assembly tungo sa isang bicameral Congress. Binago ng Pilipinas mula 6 na taon na may posibilidad na mahalal muli para sa pangalawang termino. The 1997 Constitution provided for 3 methods which the Constitution can be amended or requiring ratification by a majority vote in a national referendum. Ang ibig sabihin nito na ito na yung 1987 Constitution, pagkakaroon ng pagbabago ay nangailangan ito ng majority vote. In a national setting, hindi pwede ito desisyonan ng ilang tao. These methods were Constitute Assembly, Constitutional Convention, and People's Initiative. Using these modes, there were efforts to amend or change the 1987 Constitution, started with the presidency of Peter U. Ramos, who succeeded Corazon Aquino. First attempt was in 1995 when the Secretary of the National Security Council, Joseph Almate, drafted a constitution, but it was exposed to the media and is never prospered. So, nagkaroon daw ng attempt, sinubukan nila ma-amend, pero na-expose ito sa media. Dahil nga, natutunan tayo dun sa nangyari sa Marcos regime kung anuman pagbabago sa saligang batas, talagang sensitive na topic ito sa mamamayang Pilipino. The second part happened in 1997 when a group called Pirma hoped to gather signature from voters to change the Constitution through the People's Initiative. Nagkaroon daw ito ng attempt sa pamamagitan ng People's Initiative. Itong grupong pangalan na tinatawag nila na Pirma.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and good day everyone. I am Den Kasan Mama, the reporter of Chapter 4.1, the 1897 Constitution of the Biak-na-Bato. The Constitution of Biak-na-Bato was provisionary Constitution of Philippine Republic during the Philippine Revolution, and it was promulgated by the Philippine Revolutionary Government on November 1, 1897. So, ibig sabihin, ang Constitution ng Biak-na-Bato ay provisionary o pansamantalang constitution lamang ng Philippine Republic noong kapanahonan ng Philippine Revolution. At ito ay pinahayag noong November 1, 1897 ng Philippine Revolutionary Government na kung saan pinangungunahan ni Emilio Aguinaldo. Emilio Aguinaldo established his headquarters in Biak-na-Bato in Bulacan Province. The news immediately spread throughout the country, and the revolutionaries were once more in high spirits. Si General Illanera na nasa Nueva Ecija ay isa sa mga nagdeklara ng kanyang suporta para kay Emilio Aguinaldo. In July 1897, Aguinaldo established the Biak-na-Bato Republic at naglabas ng isang proklamasyon na nagsasaad ng mga sumusunod na kahilingan: expulsion of the friars and the return of the friars' lands to the Filipinos. Nakasaad sa proklamasyon na ito na ipapatalsik ang mga friars at ipabalik sa mga Pilipino ang mga lupaing pagmamay-ari nito. At kung nasasagi sa isip nyo kung ano ang friars, ito yung mga grupo ng mga padre noong unang panahon na kung saan nagmamay-ari ng mga malalaking lupain sa Pilipinas noon. So, isa sila sa mga mayayamang tao sa Pilipinas noon, sapagkat ang ibang mga katutubong Pilipino ay nagtatrabaho pa sa kanila. At sila rin ay isa sa mga nang-aabuso at nagpapahirap sa mga katutubong Pilipino. At ang pangalawa ay representation of the Philippines in Spanish Cortes. Sa pamamagitan ng pagkakaroon ng representation of the Philippines in Spanish Cortes, maaari nang ma-defend ng mga Pilipino ang kanilang mga kagustuhan at maaari nang maipagbigay alam nito ang kanilang mga pangangailangan. And the other is freedom of the press and of religion, abolition of the government's power to punish Filipinos, and the last is equality for all before the law. And the next is the organs of the government under the Constitution. The first is Supreme Council, which was vested with the power of the Republic. It was headed by the President and 4 department secretaries: the Interior, the Foreign Affairs, the Treasury, and the last is the War. And the second organ of the government under the Constitution is the Consejo Supremo de Garcia y Justicia, or the Supreme Council of Grace and Justice, which was given the authority to make decisions and affirm or disapprove the sentences rendered by the other courts and to dictate rules for the administration of justice. Ibig sabihin, ang Supreme Council of Grace and Justice ay ang inatasan at binigyan ng kapangyarihan na gumawa ng mga desisyon at kumumpirma o hindi aprobahan ang mga reklamo na ibinigay ng ibang korte. At sila rin ang nagdidikta ng mga patakaran para sa pangangasiwa ng hustisya. And the last is the Asamblea de Representantes, or the Assembly of Representatives, which was to be convened after the revolution to create a new constitution and to elect a new council of government and representatives of the people. So, sa madaling salita, ang Assembly of Representatives ang tatawagin pagkatapos ng revolution upang lumikha ng bagong constitution at mag-elect ng bagong council ng government at representative ng mga tao. The Constitution of Biak-na-Bato was never fully implemented since the truce, the Pact of Biak-na-Bato was signed between the Spanish and the Philippine Revolutionary Army. So balik tayo sa Biak-na-Bato Constitution. So the Biak-na-Bato Constitution was based or borrowed from Cuban Constitution, and it was written by Isabelo Artaco and Felix Ferrer in Spanish. Then later on, it was translated into Tagalog. Ang ibig sabihin, ang Biak-na-Bato Constitution ay kapareho at nakabase sa Cuban Constitution, na kung saan ito ay sinulat ni na Isabelo Artaco at Felix Ferrer sa lengguaheng Spanish. At sa huli, ito ay na-translate sa Tagalog at ito ang ginawang Constitution ng Biak-na-Bato.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day to each and everyone. So, for today, I'm going to discuss or tackle the preamble source of Biak-na-Bato Constitution. But before I will discuss my topic of continuous of Constitution of Biak-na-Bato is, let me introduce myself. So, my name is Norainie Solaiman Salik from BSA Agri Extension. So, let's start. So, the primary source of preamble of the Biak-na-Bato Constitution. So, in the primary source of preamble of the Biak-na-Bato Constitution is the separation of the Philippines from the Spanish monarchy and their formation into an independent state with its own government called the Philippine Republic of the Philippines. Has been absorbed by the revolution in the acting war began on 24th August of 1896, and therefore it's named by the power of delegated by the Filipino people. So, interpreting faithful their desires and ambitions with representatives of the revolution in a meeting of Biak-na-Bato. On November 1, 1897, monarchy adopted the following articles for the constitution of the state. So, sa nilalaman ng primary source of preamble of Biak-na-Bato Constitution is nung nakahiwalay na ang Pilipinas sa kahariang Espanya ay itinatag ang isang bayang may pamamahala at kapangyarihan na pinangalanang itong Republika ng Pilipinas, which is ang Republika ng Pilipinas ay siyang layong inadhika niyang paghihimagsik sa kasalukuyan at sa simula pa ng ikadalawamput-apat ng Agosto taong 1896. Kaya nga sa kanyang pangalan at sa kapahintulutan ng kanyang pinagkaloob na bayan na katalogan ay may paghahangad na matupad ang kanyang pitat nasa, which is ang mga nahalal sa nangangalingan nitong paghihimagsik sa pagtitipon sa kanilang kapulungan na itinatag dito sa Biak-na-Bato, which is may kapulungan na naganap na doon ginanap sa Biak-na-Bato na unang araw ng Nobyembre taong 1897 na binuko nilang pinagkaisahan ang mga kasunod ng mga 5 utos na siyang alinsunurin o susundin ng mga tao sa Republika ng Pilipinas. So, that's all for today's video presentation and a discussion about in primary source of preamble of Biak-na-Bato Constitution. So, I hope na marami kayong natutunan sa aming report, which is the evolution of the Constitution of the Philippines. Once again, I'm Norainie Solaiman Salik from BSA Agri Extension, your reporter. Shukran and wassalam.